Shit.
All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Maya? Okay.
I'm here.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Look at you. You made it to another episode of We Did That Shit podcast, where we talk about who did some shit, what we learned from shit, and how we got through some shit.
I'm Maya.
And I'm BIbbi. We appreciate you, podcast family, and we hope your week was the shit. If this is your first time listening, welcome, and thank you for checking us out. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. Hey, Maya.
Hey,
Woo,
what's going on with you?
woo, woo.
You must be excited.
It's my birthday season. I'm excited.
Well, I have to say something before we get started.
Oh,
At the time of this recording, it is your birthday.
it really is.
Not your birthday season, your actual birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Ow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear BIbbi.
That's me.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Mom.
I was going to really sing happy birthday, like really sing
You
it,
should have.
like Mariah Carey sing it.
You could have
But
got discovered.
I could have, but I felt like that rendition was more me to you. Happy birthday. Whoop,
Thank
whoop.
you.
Now, and I hope on the recording that doesn't sound too crazy.
No, it's going to sound fabulous because it's my birthday. Now, if I sang happy birthday to you,
I don't know.
now that.
Well, happy birthday again. We just want to say that we love you and we hope that you have a great new year of your life.
25 again.
25 years young. Boy, you're doing it up. I did not know that Benjamin Button was real until I met you.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
They didn't even pay me for my real life story.
Man.
I'm saying. I know. Well, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. You know what I've been doing all week? Watching Shaka Zulu. Shaka is on Netflix. And so, when I saw it on there, I was like, oh my gosh, Shaka.
I love Shaka Zulu.
Me too. And so I've seen Shaka Zulu's miniseries probably like a gazillion times. But each time I watch it, I find something new. And each time I watch it, this time more specifically, I was like, damn, this miniseries was shot in 1986. But it seems like it was like shot now because
current, yes.
Yes, the picture,
right.
all of everything is just like excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Shaka because even though I don't mind slave movies, I don't mind series about slavery because it's what we experience, it's our life. But Shaka shows the power of who we are,
right.
the power that we possess, the kings and queens that we truly were, and how white people came in and tried to take over what we had going on. And then I really love it because all of the white colonizers that came into the to try to be around Shaka, to try to gain and know who they were as a people, they all had to bow down to him. And he was just all powerful. And they kept saying that he was a tyrant. And it was like, no, he's not a tyrant. He just is not succumbing to what you're doing.
Right.
He doesn't want you coming in, taking over what he has accomplished and who he is. And so I really just love that miniseries. And that's just what I've been doing with my week.
Well, that's a good week.
It was pretty. It's been pretty good. I can't complain. How
Mm.
about you? How's your week been? Since it was your birthday.
It's my birthday. It's my
Uh,
birthday. But
hey.
I
Oh.
really, really
Okay.
do celebrate my birthday in a season. It's like my specific birthday. Number one, I'm usually away on my birthday.
Mhm.
And I it's not that I couldn't. It's just that I did change my trip this year because my best friend needed me, and that's my best friend. I would do it again, you know, if I had to or whatever. I love her. But we were together today and I was like, look here, I love you with my whole heart, and whatever you need, I am there for you. I just need you to need it around your birthday time
Right.
because, because around your birthday time, I don't have things planned.
Right.
And I mentioned before in the podcast that I do suffer from that seasonal depressive disorder.
Mhm.
And my birthday trip, and it is a trip that I take alone. I go away by myself for my birthday, but it really is therapeutic for me.
Mhm.
And I'm learning how just the preparation, the planning, the excitement, all of that really helps me through this season that usually gets me down.
Mhm.
Um, so, I was up, down, but I'm feeling really good today. This weekend, I binge watched that show, Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Let me tell you something. First of all, that the title of the show is so apropos because you don't know who's who.
Right.
Now, I mean, it is like absolutely crazy. So, like I do watch Greenleaf. We support everybody black. I watch Greenleaf, but sometimes Greenleaf kind of gets on my nerves because I'm like, the black church already has so many problems. Why do we keep illuminating all these problems?
Well,
But
I mean,
I know it exists and everything, but I'm like, people probably watch it and be like, that's why I don't go to church. You
I'm sure
know,
they
but
do.
but with saints and sinners, it's just like they're one and the same. And I just was like all in, like, wow,
Mhm.
look at this.
You
Oh
surely
my
made me
goodness.
want to look at it. I was like, damn, well, I'm obviously missing out.
And one of my coworkers says she found it on the because it's not on demand, but she has, I think, a Fire Stick or something.
Mhm.
And she was like, she came to work the next day, like, oh, we can't be friends because she was up like all night. She said, my husband
Mhm.
was like, oh, showing off. She said, I just wanted to keep watching the next one and then the next one. And I was like, yeah, I know. It really kind of draws you in.
Well, I need
But
to watch that shit.
yeah, anyway, so, I'm heading to New York City to get
For
the
your birthday.
birthday. Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, life is good.
Good. I'm happy
Yeah.
to hear it.
25 again for anybody who asked.
25 years young and
Right.
still doing it up.
That's right.
Still dropping it low. Still
Okay.
spreading it wide. Still hanging it high.
All of the above. Okay.
But anyway, who did some shit this week?
Oh my goodness. So there's a lot going on this week. People like to
Mhm.
shut up. It's my birthday season.
Always.
So shout out to Colleen Bennett.
Yeah, shout out to Lean.
I mean, I'm really was like cheering from the rooftop.
Yeah, so Colleen Bennett is he's the first person with autism to be I was going to say drafted. What am I talking about? To be given a full scholarship to a
Yeah.
D1
To anyone.
university for basketball.
Yes.
He will be attending Kent State. And so shout out to Kent State for
Right. For the acceptance.
exactly. And
Yeah.
shout out to Colleen because even through his disability,
Mm-hmm.
which you would never even know that he had a
Oh, he is
disability
very well spoken,
when
isn't he?
you see his
Yeah.
interview. It's like I was like, oh, he has autism. But it just goes to show you that autism comes in, it really is a spectrum. So
Right.
someone can be severely, have autism severely, and then some people can be so high functioning that you wouldn't even know that they were on the autism spectrum. And so shout out to Kaleem because he put in the hard work to be able to get the scholarship, to be able to be noticed,
Yes.
despite his disabilities,
Yes.
going out there and getting it done. Kaleem
And
is going to say he want to be a pro basketball player.
that's right.
And I can't wait to see it.
And I'm going to be cheering him on. I start following Kent State basketball on Twitter. I'm going to be, you know, looking for
We got to be watching the games.
That's right.
Right.
I'm watching them games because I just think it's so uplifting. So I sent the story to Jiggy. You know, I mentioned on the podcast before that I have a son on the spectrum. He has Asperger's, and Jiggy said, "Oh, that's nice."
Not giving him too much praise, huh?
But it's not just that, because, you know, Jiggy doesn't accept the fact that he has autism.
Right.
He doesn't
so he probably was like, "Oh, he got autism."
And I remember we were having a conversation, and it was just something that he was saying in the conversation, and I'm like, wait a minute. I felt like if Jiggy knew he was autistic, that he could learn about autism and, you know, communicate better, or, you know, it would just help him in his life journey. And I realized when I was trying to express that to him, he was looking at me like, literally, this is how he, like, bitch, what you talking about? Like,
right.
That's really how he was looking at it. I'm like, wait a minute. And then it was confirmed because his teacher called me one day saying that they were talking about disabilities, and Xavier got very upset when they said, you know, he had autism, you know. And I told her, I said, yeah, I don't think he really realized. So one day I asked him, I said, Jiggy, do you know anybody with autism? He was like, no, not that I know of.
Because it surely ain't me.
It just kept it moving.
FYI.
So, right. So that was his little thing with Khalid Bennett. He was like, oh, that's nice. And he was like, remember you asked me, did I know someone? Remember that boy Johnny that played basketball on my team? He has autism.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
And now I know Kaleem. Yeah. Right. But shout out to Kaleem and his whole family for pushing him, and him for getting that scholarship. Go Kaleem.
Go Kaleem. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. In other Who Did Some Shit news, the sensitivities strike again. So what say you on this whole Kevin Hart's baby's birthday party fiasco?
I say, why is it a fiasco? First of all, the man gave his child a birthday party. The theme of the birthday party was cowboys and Indians.
Right.
People, you know, of course, they put the pictures out on Instagram, and some people were dressed up in cowboy attire, which his son was dressed up in cowboy attire. And then some people were dressed up in what they deemed to be traditional Indian, Native American attire. And people were in an uproar about it. And all I kept thinking was, this baby is one. You are worried about the wrong things. I'm sure that Kevin Hart nor his wife sat with a party planner and said, we're going to give this party, and we want it to be derogatory, you know, against Native Americans or against cowboys or whomever. I'm sure that they didn't say that. So the fact that people would even take it that way is just like, calm down. People are too sensitive in this world. You really can't do anything, because if his name was Kevin Hart, but he worked at the Foot Locker like he did before he got discovered, would you care if he gave his baby a cowboy and Indians themed birthday party?
That I agree with that 100%. I also agree that you didn't buy the cake or the decorations or pay for the venue or anything. And I think you're right. I think we're too sensitive. I remember cowboys and Indians. We played that game as children.
Right.
You know, we played cowboys and Indians, and if for all the negativity that people, the negativity and stereotypes that people portray today about other ethnicities, it's a baby.
And another thing is this. I think that it became such a big deal because his birthday party was like the day before Thanksgiving, or it was on Thanksgiving or something like that. I mean, so because Kevin Hart is a celebrity, he's subjected to changing the theme of his child's birthday party because it was during Thanksgiving time. Because I'm wondering if the same uproar would have been if the baby's birthday was in April. You know what I'm saying? Would it have been the same thing? Or is it just that we have eyes on so much these days that now it's, now everything is a big deal because you can actually see it. I just don't feel like if it was in April, if he wasn't a celebrity, that it would be a big deal. Now, should they? I see. I don't know, because I just feel like if it's not in a derogatory sense, then it's not negative. It's a birthday party. It's not
a tough one.
negative.
It's a tough one for me because and I'm just saying, as Joe Schmo, regular citizen, as my purpose in life is not to offend anyone. I think we can all coexist and things like that. I may say or do something that someone else may find offensive, but it's never my intent, to be offensive to anyone. Live, let live, as long as you're not killing anyone. But I also feel the same thing. Like, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays because the way we celebrate Thanksgiving is not in the. I understand what the historical sense is and how it may not be nice, especially for Native Americans. It was a very violent time, and I don't want to dismiss that in them, but I have never ever thought of that when I celebrate Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, to me, I automatically think family gatherings. We're all going to be together eating and having fun. That's all I think about with Thanksgiving. I don't think about any of the history. Not to say that the history wasn't important, but just during that time, just like Black History Month, slavery is not the only thing I think about.
Yeah.
I know it happened, but it's not the only thing I think about. So, and I mean, and if you want to be sensitive and take a stand against something, how about taking a stand against a politician that says she would buy tickets, front row tickets to lynching? So how about the next thing of who did some shit? Like, how about SB Lost?
SB lost, and I'm not surprised. So Mike Epstein was running for state senate in Mississippi, and Cindy, what was her name? Cindy Hyde. She was also running for state senator in Mississippi, and they had a runoff. And Mike Epstein, who is Black, he lost the election. Now, before, as they were running and they were out campaigning and everything, the woman said that she would buy tickets to a lynching. She also, front row tickets, not just a ticket, front row. She had to be front and center to see that. And she also talked about how Black people should have voter suppression. We should suppress people over there. That's what she said. Those people over there, we should suppress their votes. No, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. This is what I will say. I'm not surprised that he lost. The election happened in Mississippi. Mississippi is still the South. I don't care how progressive this world is. I don't care if we had a Black president. I don't care that Black people are advancing in their everyday life. There are places in this world, especially the South, who is still going to be racist. That's what they stand on. That's what they were built on. And that's what they're made of. And this is what is troubling to me. She won in a state that I'm sure a majority of the people that live in Mississippi is Black, meaning that Black people voted for her.
Well, not so much majority, but if you repress the Black vote, then you can win with the all white vote.
Yeah, you can. But I just feel like Black people voted for her too. Absolutely. But I feel like that is the mentality there, is that white is right. And that it's just like a regular occurrence. What she said is just like if I said, hey, I'm going to the corner store, you want something? That's just how I feel. Everything, how they maneuver, how they think, how the racism is embedded in their lives, in their everyday lives. You walk down the street, you see Confederate flags flying, you see Confederate statues. That's their everyday life. That's just what they have to experience all the time. So I just didn't think that it was like, oh, let me just vote for her because that's what I'm used to. That's what she said. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, it doesn't affect me. And I just think that they went out and voted for this woman, and it's just like crazy that you would, but it's not surprising at all.
Yeah, it
None of
really
it's
is a
surprising.
it's not surprising. It really is a shame, and I think that maybe we can do a podcast about that in the new year, because a lot of people really don't understand that impoverished Southern blacks
Hmm.
live a very different life
Yes, they do. Than we
than
do.
what we are accustomed to, even in the what we call, even in the hood, the
Hmm.
projects,
Hmm.
in the north. They just live a very different life. And I had a life-changing experience some years ago when I was in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Hmm.
And I met a man who worked for the American Civil Liberties Union.
Hmm.
And when we had conversations and he told me about, his job was to help unionize groups of
Hmm.
workers and things. And when he shared his experience, I just could not believe. I really was in awe that, these people live as indentured servants
Hmm.
still. And it's
Hmm.
regular to them. But,
Hmm.
we I'm going to put that down as a topic that we're going to do a podcast on that topic one day soon. So, I mean, people are overly sensitive, it seems, about the wrong
The
things.
wrong things,
And
because that her saying that she would buy front row tickets to a lynching is what you should be up in arms about. That's what you should be protesting about. That's what you should be making posts on social media about, not Kevin Hart throwing his baby a birthday party.
right, and
That's
you certainly should not be sending a person who believes in that to Congress.
yeah, to the yeah, it's
So,
ridiculous.
right,
I would
it's
I
crazy.
would just move if I would do anything in my power to move if I lived that way. But like you said, we'll do a whole show about it because those people probably think that they can't get out. But anyway, who else is doing some shit this week?
Well, you heard that CNN fired Mark Lamont Hill over his pro-Palestine comments that weren't really pro-Palestine. They were just trying to find a way to get rid of him anyway. But
Yeah, I was going to say they've been wanted to fire him. He was fired from Fox News some years
right.
ago, and then he went over to CNN, and then CNN has now fired him. Um, so what did he do? What was it that he did?
Well, he was speaking at UN kind of event or activity,
Mhm.
and they said that in his speech he said that he was defending, he is against Israel and their control over Palestine,
Mhm.
but the remark that they're honing in on is that he said free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Mhm.
And he's saying that yes, he doesn't believe in any one country ruling over or depressing other people. He feels that people should have equal rights everywhere, but he did not make that comment. They said that comment is linked to, like anti-Semitic comments
Mhm.
and the Hamas. So they're saying that even, and he says, I never even mentioned the Hamas, and he did not say that from the river to the sea comment. So, you know, and he also put a new tweet out on Twitter recently saying, what he stands against. So
Yeah, he
he denied using the river to the sea comment during the speech. And, conservatives and pro-Israel figures started blasting him and referencing him for the phrase because they said it's often used by anti-Israel terror groups. But he claimed on Twitter, they're saying that the phrase is usually preceded by Hamas. And it has been for so many years. So even if you say that and omit the word Hamas, that people still know what you're talking about. But he's saying he didn't say Hamas at all, and he didn't mention from the river to the sea.
Well, the thing is that you can say anything in the world, but don't say certain things. So you can go out there, you could say lynch ninjas, meaning, I don't want to say the word because I don't use the word that much, but you could say lynch niggas, you could say kill ninjas, you could say burn us, you could say all kinds of stuff, but don't say anything that's deemed anti-Semitic.
Right.
And so that's what it boils down to. Mark Lamont Hill has never apologized for how he feels or his beliefs or his thought process in regards to his support for Palestine freedom. He's never apologized for that. He has been on record talking about that many times in the past. And so now that he brought it up this time, now it becomes a problem. In the past, it wasn't a problem. In the past, when he was speaking about it, no one came out and said that he was anti-Semitic. Right. And so he put out the tweet. He said, I support Palestine freedom. I support Palestine self-determination. I am deeply critical of Israeli policy and practices. I do not support anti-Semitic, killing Jewish people, or any other things attributed to my speech. I have spent my life fighting these things. He said, my reference to river to the sea was not a call to destroy anything or anyone. It was a call for justice, both in Israel and in the West Bank's Gaza. The speech very clearly and specifically said those things. No amount of debate will change what I actually said or what I meant. And so here we are again with people being too sensitive or taking something and flipping it around to what they deem it to be. If the man said not what he meant, but what he actually said out his mouth was something different than what you're saying. It takes nothing to go back and listen to the speech. It takes nothing to go back and just see what he said, and make your determination from that. Because like he said, it's not only what I meant, it's actually what I said out of my mouth. And so, stop taking people's words, flipping it around. Oh, what you meant was this. No, what I meant was what I said out of my mouth. And so, Mark Lamont Hill is also a professor at Temple. I think that Mark Lamont Hill will be fine. It's unfortunate, it's another person that they're trying to take down. But then you got your president of the United States out here just being a damn buffoon, out here just laying it on the line. Just saying exactly, hey, I did all these criminal things, and I'm telling you I did all these criminal things, but yet you won't do anything to me. And I put a tweet out earlier. I said, I was looking at Trump's, something that he just said, because, Paul Manafort took the plea deal or whatever, right? So I was looking at that, and I was just looking at Trump saying, well, I didn't say this, but if I did say this, basically telling on himself. And I put a tweet out and I said, this goes to show you that white people, especially white men, can do any damn thing and won't, and nothing will happen to them. They will not. Nothing will happen to them. They ain't going to jail. They ain't doing nothing. But this man is losing his livelihood for something that you think he said. So Mark Lamont Hill, I think that he'll be fine. It's unfortunate that he has to go through this. Another one bites the dust. That's how I feel, But tread lightly. That's just how it is. With the world the way that it is now, we all have to tread lightly in what we think, what we say, what we put out there clearly. Because the world is so sensitive.
It really is. And my thing is that I agree with Mark Lamont Hill in that, look at what I said, and be sure of what I said, because he's a very intelligent person and he's an academic. So he's not, and I'm not saying that he would never do it, but it's just, unlikely that this is a speech that he prepared for. I'm sure people have heard it before he gave it at this UN address, so I think that this was just anyone who said something was just an excuse that CNN could use to dismiss him because Fox had already fired him. And that is just the climate of the United States that we're living in today.
Mm-hmm.
And in order, unfortunately, in order for anything, it's not like a football game where they'll just, let's replay it and see what really happened.
Exactly.
People that matter will actually have to go to bat for him
Mm-hmm.
in order for him to be offered the position again. And that's just not where we are
Mm-mm.
right now in
Mm-mm.
our environment, in our
Mm.
affairs. So it really is unfortunate. Um, he still has a job at Temple, thank goodness. Um, Hopefully, he will still have speaking engagements and his voice will still be heard.
Yeah.
But it's just the climate of the times that we're living in. Moving on to another who did some shit. How about my boy Alex?
Oh man. Yeah, that was so
Uh,
terrible.
yeah, like I liked him. I mean, not liked as in like he was my favorite one of the guys.
He's
Uh,
my favorite one on the show too,
yeah,
and that because I didn't like anybody at first, but I always like Alex. So Alex Banks, who
yeah,
is one of the um he's on the show Ready to Love. So the
right.
Ready to Love comes on. It's produced by Will Packer, and
Hmm.
it comes on Saturday nights. And it's like a dating show.
Right.
At the end, it's kind of like The Bachelor, but with black people.
Hmm.
So they have a bunch of women, they have a bunch of men. They narrowed
Hmm.
it down, and at the end, they want to get three couples. And Alex was one of the participants on the show looking for love. And it came out today that Alex is suffering in the hospital on life support from brain flu.
Right.
And when I
Not
read it, I was like, go ahead.
well because no, go ahead because I just wanted to talk about brain flu, but go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When I read it, I was like, wow, brain flu. And it
Hmm.
prompted me to look up more information about brain flu because
Hmm.
I never knew that brain flu existed. And it
Hmm.
just goes to show you that it's so much out here that we just don't know, especially
Hmm.
concerning our health. So, did you
Hmm.
want to touch a little bit on what brain flu was?
Um, yeah, because a lot of people was like, "What the heck is brain flu?"
Yeah.
Like I never even heard of brain flu, and I don't think brain flu occurs often,
No, it's
but
very rare, they
yeah,
said.
yeah, it is rare. So one thing that happens is, and this is what logically, and the way that we learn about health and pathophysiology, how our disease systems and how our body works, is the longer you have an infection or a condition, the more damaging it can become. Doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's and dental work is very important because people don't realize how close your mouth is to your brain. So if something is
Mm-hmm.
infected in your mouth, it has a very short route up,
Mm-hmm.
to your brain. So um brain flu happens when the flu, which is a virus, and
Mm-hmm.
I talk about viruses all the time, and viruses are living things. They're out here just trying to make it like you and me. And usually, the virus, we produce antibodies, or our white blood cells. They see it, they recognize it, they go kill it. But when it lingers too long and it gets in tissue,
Mm.
and it starts to replicate in tissue. So in brain tissue, because the only thing moving in the brain is the blood that's moving in and out of that space, the blood and cerebral spinal fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when the infection stays long, it goes into brain tissue, not just the blood supply, but in the tissue, and stays there. So then you get forgetful, foggy headed, things like that. And it doesn't happen often because, our bodies naturally do things to fight the flu. And then we get medicine, to help with the symptoms. And the flu is really a virus. So antibiotics really don't help unless, because the flu can become like a bacterial infection or can cause like a bacterial pneumonia, then you would get antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But the thing with Alex that's so disheartening is they said he went to the hospital 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
3 times, and all 3 times they sent him home.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew he didn't feel any better.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept coming back, he kept coming back. And now he's in a grave state. And
Right.
that really is a shame. And one of the things that they mentioned is, and probably one of the reasons they kept sending him home, is that he did not have health insurance.
Right.
And we spoke about that on a podcast a few weeks ago. It's open enrollment. Open enrollment is till December 15th. If you do not have health insurance, there is the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, where they make health insurance affordable for people who do not qualify for their state's Medicaid plans and need to purchase insurance. Alex is a business owner. He owns his own trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know why he doesn't have insurance. And I know that sometimes we think that it's too costly or we can't afford it, you know, but it really is something that we need.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
now this young man is fighting for his life.
it
Like
really
literally.
is. It really is something that we need. And this America, for it to be one of the greatest places for you to live, people are fighting every day to come to the country. It sucks. The fact that people have to go to hospitals and be sent home, like you
Mhm,
said, and now in a grave state because they don't have insurance, is disgusting. It's
mhm,
disgusting that I go to the hospital, someplace where I'm trying to get medical attention and trying to get help, and then I can't
mhm,
even get help there because at the end of the day, it's about the dollar sign. And I'm not saying that medicine isn't costly, treating diseases and such is not costly. You have to pay people, go to school every day. I mean, for years and years and years to become doctors. I get all of that. But what do you say now to this person or to his family that you
mhm.
sent him home so many
Three
times and then he
times.
kept
Right.
coming back because he knew something wasn't right? What do you say now that he's on life support? Now, does it matter if he has insurance because you're paying,
Right.
you're
Right.
supplying the life support. You're
Right.
supplying the machines that is keeping them alive. You're supplying the medicines that's keeping them alive. So now what? Now what
Exactly.
do you say? You're not going to send them home now because you can't. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
just like, I know that things cost money, but again, it sucks that people have to even be in a position that they're in and now fighting for their life.
It
And
really
he
is a
could have got
shame.
helped. He could have got
Right.
help the first time that he went. He didn't have to end up where he is. But prayers to him and his family,
Yes.
and prayerfully he pushes through and he gets out of this situation, and he's able to, regain his life and all of the good things that come with it. It's sad. The boy is 34 years old and now in a position that he's in. It's really sad. But like BIbbi said, it's open enrollment. Sign up for some
Yes. Get
insurance.
yourself
You
some
know.
health insurance. And I understand that um, healthcare is not the same everywhere.
Mm-mm.
So he went 3 times and you're like, well, what more can you do? He did advocate for himself. He kept going
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, but I tell people all the time, it's called the practice of medicine for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes it really saddens me, but are we in the life-saving business?
No,
Do
we're
we
in the
like it's
money making business.
exactly. It seems like we're not trying to save a life until a life is in jeopardy.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
exactly what it is. Look at
it's
the people who now are, let's just say, people that are addicted to pain pills, right? You make the pills for the people to get out of pain. Now you got a pill that takes them off of that and puts them in something else. You're not worried about whether or not people are getting better. You're worried about people buying more pills, getting more medicine, you know, getting treated for more diseases. It's about money. It's not about saving people's lives. It's not about that. It sucks for doctors or if anybody in a position, nurses, doctors, whomever, that get into that field because they want to help people, but soon realize, and because you're in the field, but soon realize that it's not about helping people. It's about the bottom line, and that's the dollar. So prayers out to him.
Yes.
And for the final, who did some shit, I want to talk about you. Listen, girl, the show Love Is on OWN, right?
Yes.
The creators of and The Game and Black Lighting and Being Mary Jane. I mean, the list goes on and on. So the creators of that show, Mara Brock Akil and her husband Salim Akil. I mean, two powerful people in Hollywood, two powerful Black people in Hollywood, husband and wife, team out there just doing it up. Well, it was said today, child, that Salim Akil, the husband,
yes,
is being sued by his mistress of 10 years. She's out here, she's alleging, this is all alleged, alleging that
I
she
believe
suffered.
it.
I mean, okay. But it's alleged, alleged that she suffered from physical, mental, sexual abuse from him for 10 years. She was his mistress for 10 years. And girl, the stuff that she is alleging, her name is Amber Dixon Brennan. The stuff that she is alleging that Salim Akil did is deep.
She is Me Too to the 25th power. You hear me?
I mean, honey, and you read the article and you're like, well, what the hell made you stay for 10 years as somebody's mistress and getting physically abused? I mean, sexually abused to the point where it's like they're meeting up at a party. This is all alleged. They're meeting up at a party. He's like, let's go to the bathroom. And when they get into the bathroom, he's slapping her across her face, making her perform oral sex, and then urinating in her mouth. I mean, she is laying it out.
Yes. And I believe it.
I don't know. Let me just say this. I don't know if I believe it because the man is quiet, so nothing has given me.
That supports me believing it.
Well, I'm just saying I haven't seen anything that I'm like, yeah, he was on that interview. He was a little. But if you take the show, Love Is.
That's right.
Okay, so Love is.
Quiet people are always the ones. Quiet people don't be out here, all on parade with their nonsense and shenanigans. So being quiet, that's one. Now go ahead. The character on Love Is.
The character on Love Is. So it's loosely based off of their love story, how they met and how they live their lives to today. And in the show, I will say that the character that's supposed to be portrayed by him, I mean, that's his character, he is very controlling
and self-centered
in a sense on the show. Now
everything is about him.
Right. If you take that and then just think about this, I don't know if I still get like sexual, physical abuse from the man.
What's he supposed to do, Maya? Wear a t-shirt with a cape? Predator? No. It's
no,
him.
but when I was just like reading it, I was like,
I believe it.
He out here. Oh, he is out here just doing it up. And it really is the Me Too movement to the 10th power, like you said, because the reason why she did not come out before the alleged victim, the reason why she didn't come out before was because she felt like she would be blackballed in Hollywood because they have like scripts together. They've done work together. I mean, she's been around, so she's been moving and shaking with him. And so she felt like if she said something that she would no longer be able to do those things. It's a sad ass situation that you feel like your hands is tied or that you feel like somebody could take away your livelihood. So you'll just let them do anything to you.
Well, and this is common. This is common in domestic abuse.
Yeah,
this is common. They don't leave.
Nope.
They feel like they have no place to go.
Nope.
They feel like it's going to get better. They feel like, oh, it wasn't always like this. He's going to change back. So there's a lot. It's common. All of these things are very common. And also, I don't think, he may have had other affairs, and other affairs may or may not come out after this.
If
But
other stuff will come out, I
I,
believe it, because
it
once the shoe drops, it's
right,
like a
everybody's going to be
yeah,
on the Me Too. So, but I think he probably had other affairs. I don't know if, and I doubt. Now I can't say for sure, but I doubt that the other people's, and they may come out. The affairs may come out in support of him, and
yeah,
saying like,
yeah.
"Oh,
He
I
didn't
had
treat
an
me like
affair like
that.
him."
Mm-hmm,
Exactly.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And but you know what? That to me would be even more reason to believe what she's saying, because once an attacker, a predator, just an awful person like that, when they find someone that they have that domination over, that control over, they don't need many people. If they got a good one that will
Mm-hmm.
do anything, they don't need another one. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And anybody who would belittle themselves so much as to let a person urinate in their mouth, it just, how much lower can you go in his eyes?
right.
You know what I mean? So it gives him all the power, because that's usually what those relationships are about.
No, I definitely think that
You know, so
like, even if we base it off of the show, it's
mhm,
definitely
that's why I
everything's
believe it.
alleged. But if we base it off of the show, the power thing is very important to him. And then you think about it,
Absolutely.
like, his wife is his partner, but
Hmm.
she is the writer, he's the
That's
director.
right.
She's
Hmm.
the writer, they both are creators. She's writing what you are seeing come to life. So she's
And her
probably
success
more of the
came
creator,
first.
and her success came first. So
Hmm.
in reality, even though you are the man of the relationship, and she's on record in many interviews saying how, even though her success came first, everything, she still lets her husband lead.
Hmm.
But to a person that has all of that success right along with you, or and had it before you,
Hmm.
you're not as powerful over them as
That's
you
right.
would
You
like
don't
to
feel right.
be.
It's
And
that
so,
feeling that he
yeah,
wants.
but it's
Absolutely.
all of this is alleged. It's
I
alleged.
believe it.
I ain't gonna say I believe it, because I don't know these people, but honey, nothing seems off limits these days. I mean, people is out here living reckless. So Salim Akil and Mara Brock Akil, I really like her, so I feel bad for her.
I
And for
don't, and I'm just saying, I know it's a TV show.
it is. That's
I
why it's
know, and
alleged.
I know it's, no, I'm talking, it's alleged because they haven't been to court for the ruling or whatever. What I'm saying is that mistress, what she says, I believe it. Now, I know Love is a television show. I know Love is loosely based on their relationship, and I know that. However, that's why when I saw the first couple episodes, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. And I only watched it when the episode came out with Loretta Devine, when she
Mm.
told the baby mama what she needed to do, and stuff like that. So then I went back and I watched it, and no, I didn't like it. I did not like him. I did not like his character. I didn't like it. I didn't watch
I
the
like the
show.
show. The show was
I,
a
I,
good ass
mm-mm.
show.
I was
But let
like,
me
she's
tell you,
crazy. I wouldn't be with him. He's a control freak. Look at him. He a hater. And I just never liked him. And I do believe everything this woman said, even though I know this loosely based, and I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying I believe her. I sure enough believe her.
well, she got a lot of damn detail for it to be.
Exactly.
And I mean, like, if you're a creator, you could create all of this detail, but she got a lot of detail, and it just ain't looking good. Then no matter how you let it, slice it. But the lady is moving on with her life. She's going to have to learn to let go. And
Hmm.
hopefully she's at the point where she can let go, because she's now at this point of suing him, and it all
Hmm.
coming out. So hopefully she can, but sometimes it's not easy to let go,
It is not. And
especially
letting
in
go,
relationships.
especially in relationships.
Hmm.
That's some other shit that was on my mind anyway,
Hmm.
about letting go.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn to let some things go. So in relationships, side note,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Auntie Iyanla updated her books, Acts of Faith.
Okay.
Remember the little purple book?
Yeah.
Well, she said it's not purple anymore, it's another color, but it's updated. So she was
Mm-hmm.
encouraging everyone to get, the updated version. And so and in that book, I do have Acts of Faith, and I do read it every now and again. I don't read it every day, but the one entry that I know almost verbatim
Mm-hmm.
is August 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And August 18th is letting go. And I remember 20 some odd years ago when I first read it, it just gave me pure revelation of what letting go is and how we cause more harm to ourselves by holding on. And
Mm-hmm.
she talks about how the harder something gets, the worse it is. We hold on tighter and tighter and
It's
tighter.
and that's the truth.
It's
Why
the
is
truth.
that?
She said, what is so wrong with just letting go? Just let it go.
I Go ahead. Because I think that letting go is really. I think that the problem with letting go, or how people see letting go, I know even for me, how I think about letting go is really about failure.
Right.
Even though you shouldn't think of it like that, because
Because it's not.
something is not good for you. You
Mm-hmm.
know that it's time to just move on from it, but
Mm-hmm.
it feels like almost like failure when you have to let go of something, especially in relationships, when it's something that you feel like you put your work in, you put your hard work
Mm-hmm.
into, you put all yourself into, you put your loyalty into, you put your time, you put your effort, and then it's done and you got to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I want to hold on tighter because I put all this time, this effort, this everything in it. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of times that's what it has to do with. I mean, for me, let me
So,
just say that.
right. So we're just talking about in terms of relationships.
Yes, in terms of
So
relationships.
there are some things I came up with to
Okay.
help us let go.
Well,
These
let
are
me
in no
know.
these are in no particular order. I wanted to put them in order of importance, but I can't do it for me, so I certainly can't do it for somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, let me know so
Okay.
I can see what's important to me.
Okay. So one thing that you have to do in order to let go is identify what the experience taught you.
Mm.
You have to know what you learn from the experience because that's how you start to develop your sense of closure.
Mm-hmm.
Some people give
Mm.
up over long periods of time. Like, oh no, we've been breaking up for 6 years. What?
Well, I'm guilty. I
Right.
definitely been breaking up with somebody for the last past 6 years, to be exact. What you thinking about me when you said 6 years?
No,
But
I don't
yes.
know. I'm sorry. It's just
Oh, okay.
maybe I don't know. It was my
Yeah.
subconscious or something. I don't know. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying. But we have to be truthful. We have to identify what the experience taught us because
Mm-hmm.
that starts the closure.
Mm-hmm.
What we learn. Number two, again, it's in no specific order, but I believe in making things plain. So write everything you want to express in a letter.
Mm.
Now, I learned this some years ago too. I wrote my ex-husband a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Never gave it to him, never mailed it to him, never intended to.
Mm-hmm.
But I got everything off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when we were separated. It was before we were divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did kind of feel a little freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he doesn't know what I was thinking,
You
I felt
know.
like I felt like I expressed it,
Mm-hmm.
and expressing it by writing it down helped me to move to the next step.
Well, I wrote a letter to my ex and I gave it to him. I mean,
Mm.
he has it. But I remember when he said, and
Anything you
we
say or write will be used against you.
no, yeah, right? Cuz people say, "Oh, do this until you do it,"
Mhm.
or they say,
Exactly.
"Oh, I can handle it until it's time to handle it." But I remember when he first said to me, and me and him, we talked about any and everything, no
Mhm.
matter what it was. We talked about any and everything. good, bad, or indifferent. And
Mhm.
I'm talking about any and everything.
Right.
And I remember him saying, well, I feel like you just holding something back. I feel like you holding something back. And I'm thinking, like, we've been together 100 years. What the hell am I holding back? You know what I want to say, I'll say. But he was like, just write it down, write me a letter. And I was like, I gotta write you no letter. I'm gonna tell you what the hell I need to say right now. And he was like, nah, write it down. I'm gonna tell you
When you
what.
start writing.
That thing was tight, honey. Tight. I was writing that, typing that thing up. You would have thought I was typing up my thesis when I got my master's, because I just kept going on and on and on. And let me tell you what the letter did. I don't I I guess in a way it helped me to let go, but what it definitely did show me is you did some shit.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
I can't
You
believe
never think
that's
about
right.
all the stuff that you've done,
Mhm.
all the stuff that he's done, the what led you to letting go. You never think about it until you really see it. And I was like, damn, this is deep.
Mhm. Right.
That was some deep, it was deep. I'll go
And
back and
you
read it from time to time because I'm like,
you
damn, you was
thought
too.
you thought you were expressing everything you
Yeah,
felt.
no, and you weren't. I
And
was not.
you right.
I was not.
Right. Right. So the third thing is remember both the good and the bad
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship. Not so much focus on one or the other, but you have to remember them both.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about a relationship, especially if it's something that you think you might want back and all that other kind of stuff, especially in these relationships like Celine McKeel and this woman, they tend to think about just the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to they want to hold on to all the good stuff and act like the bad wasn't so bad. But no, you have to think about both in the relationship. And if it appears now, you have to acknowledge it and don't, minimize the bad. And it's good to keep that so that what it makes the loss less impactful because, you know, if somebody gives you something rotten and then takes it and throws it in the trash, you really didn't lose anything.
Right.
It
And you
was
don't miss
rotten.
it. It was rotten.
Exactly.
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 Damn, that's true. But go ahead. Keep it
Um,
continue. That's deep.
Another thing
I'm
that
thinking about that right now.
we have to do to let go is to unromanticize the way we view love.
Mm.
Because when we romanticize love, we get stuck in a fantasy
Mm.
and we look at that person that we're trying to let go. They
Mm.
were the one, they were the love of my life. I'm never going to get that again. I should have tried harder. I should have did this. You have to unromanticize the love
Mm-hmm.
because the fact of the matter is when you experience love, true love,
Mm-hmm.
and then you already know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to experience it on bigger and better levels.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's with the same person or another person.
Mm-hmm.
So some people believe in soulmates. Okay. Some people may, what I mean, I'm just saying that love is really, I love people for who they are.
Mm. Not for
You
who
know,
you want them to be. I mean, not
right.
for
I
who
love
you
for
want them
who
to be.
for
Yeah.
who they are. So I don't romanticize, love because romanticizing keeps you locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you unromanticize your view on love, you open yourself up to love again.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've romanticized love either. I definitely think that I love people for who they are too. I mean, I I don't know if I believe in soulmates. I believe that a person is put into your life for a reason, for sure, whatever that reason be. But I don't romanticize it, and it has nothing to do with letting go. It just is what it is. It's because I don't like to put expectations on love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's good and bad. I don't like to put
Mm-hmm.
expectations on, you know, it ain't a movie. And I also feel like our love is going to be what we create it to be, not
Right.
for what love should be or what people think it is or anything like that. It really is about me and that person, what we deem our love to be. Some people might not agree with us, but it doesn't matter. So I definitely don't think that I romanticize love. And if I do, I need to stop so I can let go, since I've been breaking up with the same person for 6 years.
Mm.
Mm. But go
And then
continue. Continue.
and then you have to visualize yourself empowered
Mm.
as a single person.
Mm-hmm.
Some people really think that if they are not fulfilled unless they're in a relationship.
Well, that's how society has created people to be.
Mm.
I think that that's definitely how society has created people to be. Just like with women, I don't think it's a lot of women out there who don't wish to be mothers, who don't wish to be married, but
Hmm.
society makes it so you have to be, and if you're not, then it's something wrong with you. And so I think that that is society based, not individually like who you are based.
Well, I can't let society guide
No,
my thinking
of course you
and my
can't.
thoughts or define who I am, what I am. I can't afford to allow society to do that. Society doesn't pay my bills. Society doesn't let me rest well at night, you know. So I feel empowered, whether I'm single or in a relationship. I am I feel like I'm a strong person.
Hmm.
But when I'm single, I feel more empowered to be me.
Hmm.
Because when I'm in a relationship has a common decency to consider the other person.
Hmm.
So you can't be as empowered to be fully you in a
Hmm.
relationship because you have to consider the other person.
Hmm.
So, just like my birthday trip and how I go alone, because
Hmm.
that's something that helps me. It
Hmm.
empowers me. The time helps me to reset and revive myself, in order to move on. But when you want to let go, you have to visualize yourself. Well, I do more than visualize it. I make sure that I take the time to do it. But I feel empowered as a single person. Another thing, we just have two more things. So another thing we want to do is replace, and this is big for women. Men don't seem to have a problem with it because men really aren't into closure as much. Some men are, but not as much as women are. But when we need to replace our emotional thoughts with facts.
Hmm.
In areas of love, there is a lot of emotions. You
Hmm.
know, I feel, you made me feel, it made me feel, I feel like, I feel I wanna, I feel it's just a lot of feelings.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, we totally, we push past the facts
Hmm.
because the feelings are so strong. And
Yeah.
sometimes we base feelings on things that are not factual,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to communication. Replace our emotional thoughts with facts.
That's true.
Right. So, and another thing is in letting go, and this is the last thing. Well, it's not really the last thing, but it's the last thing I have is don't place blame.
No.
Now, one of my favorite sayings,
No.
one of my favorite sayings, I say it all the time. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just doesn't work.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't blame anybody for anything. Like it's whatever it was, I was entertaining it until I'm not entertaining it anymore.
And
You
that is
know,
the truth.
that
Exactly
is
what you
that's
just
that's
said.
just
You
what it
can't
is.
place blame on any type of you can't place blame on any type of thing that happens in a relationship, because at the end of the day, if you stay stuck and stay with it, and it's a shame, just like in the Salim Akil situation, the woman can't
I believe it.
it's not about believe it or not, and it's alleged. The woman, it's hard for her to place blame on him because you stayed in the situation. Now, am I placing blame on her for what she went through because she stayed? Hell no. If I got cheated on for 16 years and I decided to stay in a relationship, I'm not placing blame on just you. The onus is on both of us because you did what you did and I stayed. Now that's a fact. That right there is a fact.
Right.
That's a fact. If you did that, if you did that to me all them years and I stayed, I'm an asshole and you are a cheater, and that's a fact. But that neither being here nor there. There's no need to place blame. It happened. It is what it is. And when you move on, you have to let go. And that be either moving on in the relationship or outside of the relationship. It's no need to place blame. You're both to blame.
No, you're not both to blame.
Yes, you are.
No, you're not. You're not both to blame. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just doesn't work. Nobody's to blame. There's no blame.
I guess.
It just doesn't work.
Well, when I look back at my relationship that I just got out of, that I've been breaking up with for 6 years, the blame is on both of us. Sorry. He did some shit.
Him a bad person.
Neither one of us is a bad person. Neither one of us
just didn't work.
Yeah, neither one of us is bad people, and the blame is both of us, and that's what it is for me, and that's a fact for me, and it's an emotion for me, and I wrote it in a letter for me, and what else we said? What else did we say? All of the things that we said.
Yes,
for me.
That's right. And now you're empowered for you.
For me. And I know how to be single for me.
Well, I'm glad I could help you.
Thank you. I got something out of this. Thank you. But no, it just, we just wanted to give a little couple of pointers about letting go, learning to let go, realizing that you're not to blame, doing things that empower yourself, writing it down before you go out and express it, even if it's just for you, and not placing blame, not romanticizing, and learning how to focus on fact.
Not emotion.
And not emotion.
Look at you, Maya, was paying attention.
I was, because I'm telling you, all of those things was for me. So I'll let y'all know how my breakup is still going. Well, we broke up. That's how it went. We broke up, Why are you laughing? You laughing at my pain?
I am not laughing at your pain because it's not painful anymore.
I know.
It's the facts.
Now that's a fact.
It's just a fact.
So do you have anything this week for your personal journal?
It's my birthday. And that's my personal journal. I made it. It is my birthday. I am celebrating life. And I am happy about it. 'Tis the season to be jolly. I'm letting shit go. It's, you know what I mean? It's, life is good.
Good.
And that's my personal journal.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. Life is good. For my personal journal this week, I wanted to talk about conforming. I had this on my mind for the last couple of days because I was having a conversation with you about something in regards to the show and about life. And you were saying something like, a person said they didn't get anything out of whatever it was, right? Like they didn't get anything out of the show. They didn't get anything out of a certain conversation. And I just thought about when you do something like the podcast, right? We're doing the podcast now. You don't really realize how much people want you to conform to what they want until you start doing something on a public scale. So you put it out for consumption for people, right? Until you start doing something like that, you really don't realize how much people want you to conform to who they want you to be. And it made me think about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm good with me. I'm good with the show. I'm good with what we put out there as far as the show is concerned. I like me. I would date me. I would be friends with me. I'm doing it up with
You
me.
don't like you, do you, Maya?
Yeah, boy, I tell you, boy. And it just made me realize that I'm not conforming to anything or anyone. My thoughts are my thoughts. What I like is what I like. I wouldn't change too many things about myself. And that conversation sparked the thought in my mind, not just because of the show, but it just made me think, because I'm about to turn 40. I'm checking my new box, and I was thinking to myself, like, what I just said, do you like you? Would you date you? Would you be friends with you? Because you think like, damn, I'm about to be 40. Like, is this something I want to change about myself? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not anything that I want to change about myself. I like the fact that I'm blunt. I like the fact that I'm loyal. I like the fact that I'm funny. I like the fact that I like to laugh about the dumbest things. You know what I'm saying? I like who I am in a relationship. I like who I am outside of a relationship. So I just am not into conforming to what others want me to be. I'm okay with me. And that's just what I had on my mind for my personal journal.
To be continued, because we're going to talk about this. But
we could definitely talk about it. It's no problem.
I do.
We're going to talk about it on and off this mic.
And that's fine. We are.
And that's fine.
That's all we have for this week.
Yeah, to be continued.
It's my birthday.
To let you know
it's
about
my birthday.
This deep conforming conversation that we about to have. I see it now. And again, happy birthday to you. We hope that you enjoyed your birthday and all the festivities that you're about to embark upon. Hope that you have a good time. And I hope that 25 is just as good to you as 25 was to you last year.
Amen. And be sure to check us out on our social media on Monday. We're going to put up some little videos. We'll be tailgating all day for Monday Night Football.
Oh, right. Monday is the damn game. Well, good news, podcast family. It's supposed to be 56 degrees
on
Monday. So I might stay for the whole game. And with that, we're going to go ahead
we're winning.
Well, I paid. I'm staying. It ain't be that cold. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here for this week. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Remember that a new show drops each and every Monday. Remember to follow us on our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Did That Shit. You can always follow me on my personal Twitter. That's MyMy13. It's MYMY13.
And I'm at BIbbi Amina. That's BIbbiAmina.
Yep. So check us out anywhere where you can listen to your free podcast. And we'll be here same time next week.
Remember, it's my birthday. Celebrate. Do that shit. I love you, Maya.
Love you too.